Could be me.
How'd you know?
Check. Is this loud enough for you guys?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah? Yeah. I just can't hear myself. I thought I'd start with my GRE scores. I just got a photocopy of this today, so this is my old address. It's 1600 Burnett Way, Sacramento, 95818. My birthday is 12/24/81. I'm not going to read you my soc. I'm a male. I took the test in November of 2006. My registration number was 3191005. My print date was 12/02/06. The test date here for the general test says February of 05. On the verbal, I got a 500 score, which was 60% below average. On the quantitatives, I got a score of 670, which was 64% below average. On the analytical writing, and this is beautiful because I remember this portion of the test. My wife and I, we took a prep test at Sac State before I took this test, and on the last day they taught you how to write essays for the test, and we were both like, we know how to write essays, so we just slept in because we were drinking the night before, which doesn't happen very often. And so I went and took this test without doing even looking, and I didn't realize apparently for the GRE, for those of you who are thinking about taking such a thing, any question the GRE will ever ask you is posted online. You can go to the GRE's website and they will give you said information. And you can then peruse, if that's the right word I'm looking for, their topics, and then you can actually contemplate how you would make these essays in your head, and then when you go in to take the test, you would know how to do this. We didn't get that information because we didn't go to that class. On the analytical writing, I got a score of 3.5, which is 17% below. If that's the one I'm thinking of. Unless these are the opposite, in which case it's really good, but who knows. And then I took, November of 06, I took the lit in English with the score of 500, which was 33% below. Woo. All right. And that's my Kenneth Goldsmith portion of the reading. This is also a side of Kenneth Goldsmith piece. There's this thing called Mic and Track. Have you guys heard about this? You guys know this? When shareware, kind of like peer-to-peer, jumped onto the internets, all these people would make these recordings on their computers, but if you saved it just generically, it would save as mic and track, and whenever you were on a peer-to-peer network, you'd end up sharing it as a sound file, like an MP3. And so with Napster and all these people were making recordings of themselves, doing pilot sounds and acting out fake baseball games with their brothers, and so there's these recordings online that you can find, and some dudes dedicated an entire site to them. I ran into it through Sasha Frere Jones, who writes music crit for the New York Times. And so again, I was cruising through and I found this one, which was great. And I just tried to translate it onto poetry because it was so good. So it's called Mic and Track. Hey there, sweetie. I miss you. I figured you might want to be able to hear my voice. Maybe this would help. That way you can listen to it whenever you want. I thought I'd pay you back for what you gave me, which was the best gift anybody could ever have given me. I really, really miss you. Tons. I will make it all up to you. I promise. And you get to choose how I make it up to you. I will let you choose that. I really don't care how it's done, but I never want to spend. These are in no particular order, by the way.
Dude, that was smooth, man.
This video under property surveillance. What meaning to the limited apotheosis? A rise and steady that solidifies through consideration of the image. Which nation-state manufactures the glass ceiling? How is the feeling of proximity now stylized into a new art experience? How many mirrors until we reflect? Where is the skyline not a triumph of men? Who is it that we emulate Which behaviors and hand gestures are synthesized for the new voice? If the majority is discarded, what does it mean to be part of the majority? What if there are only more questions? What if the egg came first, but there was not a chicken inside of it? What is the rain telling us about rhythm? The texture of mood cycled through gardening. Why does the tree twist into itself before fanning out into the sky? Who dismantles the exhibit? What tools are needed for the reconstruction? What charts signify the space necessitated? When is the spiral collapsing? When expanding? Why equilibrium? Why? How do we know language, misunderstand climate? Where is the gold country, sparkling? Where are the hypotheticals leading the argument? Which state of numbers represents the here and now? Can all of our action unified? Which photographic technology will enable the resolution to expose both the hemisphere of the Earth from space and the child on the sidewalk with an ice cream cone? What color is her hair? How will intimacy become the commodity of cyberspace? Where do prisms of light fan over the landscape? How does this make you feel? Which blooms are products sacrificed in vases? Which breaker caused the darkness? When is the facilitator of movement due to arrive? A transition from temporal destination to experiential purpose. Why are the heroes no longer on the television? When will they be celebrated in caskets? Is it soon? Where does comfort include suspended foreign bodies? What happens if all fences are removed? How many forms of travel still include wheels? Where does architecture not signify religion? Who is the letter for, the articulations of single and plural all knotted together? How strong are the cables of the communications conglomerate? Will they suspend us above the city streets? Will sight enable a greater sense of minor feeling? How many galleries will include the empty frames of doorways cracking? Which contradictions should we take seriously? How are their distances measured? Why is language the only medium that swells larger than violence? Words continually stacked atop each other homogenize the surface. What topography? What color? Some of these are really raw and they need a lot of editing, but okay. This one's called Ari, Who Sucked Out the Feeling? The question becomes ambiguous because we scream it into a microphone plugged into an electronic device which holds the content as a form of digital information. The information is transferred to different forms which variably influences the content of the question, and it is complicated through radio waves vibrating noise into the air which then enters your ear. So we're all part of this process, but the flaw in the assumption is the feeling that digital information contains. The affect alone is the information of experience, something that feels like.